She has served as a strategic advisor to financial institutions, governance bodies, and multinational organizations with notable contributions in corporate transformation, policy formulation, and executive leadership. She is also the author of African Leaders Tete-a-Tete, Navigating Prioritization. I want to encourage everyone, if you have not read that book, please, and you're a leader here, you want to lead your country, because this is a forum for leaders. We want to encourage you to go online and get the book, African Leader Tete-a-Tete, Navigating Prioritization. Introduce that book to your leader and to your government. Your country will be better for it. Now, our area of expertise include business strategy and leadership development, public policy and governance advisory, corporate transformation and economic growth, financial services and investment strategies, executive coaching and organizational leadership, private sector development, and Pan-African trade. With a depth of expertise and Pan-African perspective, Dr. Newman's section will empower students of their academy and our guests to break limitations, build cross-border connectivity, and seize opportunities under the AFCFTA after. So I want to encourage everyone to get ready, get your jotter, get your pen. There's going to be a section for question and answers. So with joy in my heart, I want us to put, you can just send in your flowers. Don't open your mind. Just send in clap on you have your clap icon and the rest. Can we just begin to welcome Dr. Newman as we invite her? Dr. Lucy, the floor is yours. You're welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Mozapo. And thank you, everybody. It's an honor to be here again. I think this is my second visit to DRN. Yes, and a lot is happening. Thank you. So much love. Clapping, applause, applause, applause. Merci beaucoup. Just to get us started, help me to understand where we're all logging in from by please typing in the chat space which country you are logging in from, so that we'll see. Thank you. Thank you. Just type in the chat which country you are logging in from, and then we'll see how representative we are. Nigeria, 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 Ogun State. Thank you, Mr. Stephen, for giving us another perspective. All of us are giving us, thank you, thank you. All right, so what we're going to be discussing today, thank you very much, Abuja, Lagos, Port Harcourt. Wow, I can see from your sessions that you had, the DRN hangout, the pictures that you had, very, very nice pictures. DRN is growing, DRN is growing. So what are we going to do today? Let me share my slide and then we'll start right away. As has been announced, this is our topic today. We're going to be talking about unlocking the African market in terms of the limitations. We want to recognize the limitations. Some people feel we should be very positive and just talk about the opportunities. But if we discuss the limitations, then we're able to see what we need to address. And even when you see the section on the limitations, they are positive, they are presented in a very positive manner. So first of all, this session, I'm going to have a lot of pictures in the session. Pictures speak more than 1,000 words. And I tried as much as possible to make sure that the pictures are a summation of what I want to speak about. So on the right-hand side, you see the globe and you see Africa, the wholesome Africa, and you will not see any national border. I presented the wholesome continental Africa, which is the united one land mass. And most of the things I'll be talking about will be going back to that concept of one Africa, which is also the concept of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area and the issue of Agenda 2063. So that's what our session is all about. And for me, I will present some things, and I want to put a disclaimer straight up that what I am presenting is for DRN Academy, and it is not a political statement. It's an intellectual exercise in terms of Africa as emerging. Now, in terms of what we are going to look at, instead of rather than saying table of contents, I said alignment lenses. And there's a reason why I have the arrow on the right-hand side of the slide. The arrow is individuals all coming together, forming an arrow as a direction. Africa, we're so diverse. We say different things and we're all in other places. The challenge for us is actually alignment. That's why I want to emphasize the alignment concept. And that's why it's presented as that arrow on the right. And the arrow is made up of different people, different races, because in Africa, we have all the shades of skin color. That's what many people do not also know. And in this conversation, we're going to look at 5 buckets. The first one is looking at a first glance. What is the current thinking about Africa? Africa is rising. I will tell us why it is assumed that Africa is rising. Then the second bucket, we're going to look at Back to the Future. How many of us have watched the movie Back to the Future? Let's see those who like watching movies. If you have watched the movie Back to the Future, please raise your hand. I want to see you in the house. Who has watched the movie Back to the Future? You people are so busy reading books, you don't watch movies. Please tell me the truth. Tobio has watched Back to the Future. Who else has watched Back to the Future? Okay, Tobio, in 1 minute, tell us what that movie is all about. Let Tobio unmute and tell us what that movie is all about in 1 minute.
Good evening, Ma. Good evening, class. It's been a while. It's been years. I watched it as a child. Oh, I can't remember. I can't remember.
Okay.
Maybe as early as was it 93 or so.
Okay. So, but what do you remember
I can't
about
remember, but I know I've watched it.
Okay, time travel. It's about time travel. So reflections about, is a movie about time travel. So for your entertainment, mark it down to watch on Netflix or maybe go to YouTube. It's even so old that it's free on YouTube. Back to the Future, the movie Back to the Future. Watch it. It's about a scientist that has a time machine, in which time machine you can go inside and go back in time, fix something and come back again and go in front to go to the future. So that section, Back to the Future, is reflections about the African market, how it used to be, how it is, and what is predicted into the future. The third bucket is the African market. We'll look at it, the limitations and the connections. Then number 4 is a discussion that I want us to have, looking at the way forward. Number 5 is a continuum on Africa. The continuum on Africa is that it is ongoing conversation. And each and every one of the 40 of us here, we have a role in that part. So this session is very interactive and reflective. I'm not going to give you definitions and kiniko, all those things. Don't mind that I'm saying kiniko. I'm not going to, if you're not a Nigerian, kiniko is what's that? So at first glance, current thinking, Africa rising. You will look at the globe on the other side, different hands putting it together, and those hands are different races, white, brown, black. Now, that is a composition of the kind of colors you will see across the continent, from the Maghreb to the south, to the east, to the west. Many people who do not understand Africa think we're only one race. That is a misconception. The same thing with the picture on the right, different people, different gender coming together. The reason is that Africa is a continent of 1.5 billion people. I rounded it up. It's now 1.48 something. I rounded it to 1.5 billion because so many people are being born every day. This population is a good thing for us as a strength, but it's also a risk because we see that, especially our youth population, when we don't use this population very well, it creates problems. These problems can bring unemployment, literacy level issues, quality of life, and socio-political unrest, as we have seen. However, we have the Agenda 2063, which was conceptualized in 2013 as our 50-year strategy plan. For the first time, Africa has a multi-generational strategy plan. China had 100 years. I was so happy for them. They just finished and they had the second 100-year plan. These are 50 years. People are even complaining that 50 years is too long. 50 years is too long. I don't think so. I'm from the school of thought that it's good that they broke it into 5 blocks of 10 years. And guess what? We're already in the second block of 10 years. So it's good that we have this plan. Then there's also an invigoration of consciousness across the continent for unity, self-determination, freedom, progress, collective prosperity under a Pan-African Renaissance. Africans are now proud of whom they are. They're coming together, especially the diaspora community. They're very strong, and they're also actively involved in the shaping of things around Africa. Many of the initiatives emanating from the Agenda 2063 include the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, which is a free trade area that was founded in 2018 and it became operative in 2021. Right now, 54 out of the 55 countries in Africa have signed up. And based on this Africa Continental Free Trade Area, Africa has the largest trade bloc in the world since the creation of World Trade Organization. That's how massive it is. So if we make it work, you can imagine the potentials as a market for us on the continent. It is supposed to increase the value of trade by 2040. The big news is that 5 out of the 10 most improved countries in Africa and 1/3 of all recorded reforms have occurred in sub-Saharan Africa, many of them triggered by this Africa Continental Free Trade Area. And we also have a lot of entrepreneurs coming up that are rising so fast. The last study said 400 African companies now boast of revenues of $1 billion or more. 700 or more report revenues over 500 million. An assessment of 360 companies from 32 African countries revealed that the average compound annual growth rate is 46% from 16%. That's how fast the market is growing. So no wonder that DRN said this topic is market related and we're all entrepreneurs. And guess what? Something is happening. You don't need to have a big enterprise to have cross-African trade. That's the good news that we have concerning this. So is anybody in this on this call that has had something else that you want to tell us about Africa that has to do with what we have just read about the potential on Africa? If you have anything you want to chip in for us, what you have read somewhere or seen somewhere, please raise up your hand and we'll give you the floor. Anything that I've said so far, you want to chip in something for us, raise your hand, and I'm sure that who is our class president for this session now? Mr. Newman, right? Or who is
Mr. Kalu.
Mr. Kalu, yes. Mr. Kalu is going to look out. Anybody wants to say something, they can now unmute and tell us. But your answer should not be more than 1 minute. Does anybody want to say something? If not, I'll proceed. You guys are in school now, you've been reading, so don't be shy. Anybody wants to say something? Okay, we'll continue. Maybe to trigger some thinking. So back to the future now. This picture on the right hand is the picture of a marble that is transparent, translucent, and you can see the horizon. You can see the horizon and it's reflecting the lake and the sky, and it's held by a hand. And it's balanced, equal balance, is not tilted to one side. So on this, I want us to look at everything we're going to talk about in this section. Reflect on the horizon, the total African space, and then we'll start to see a pattern emerge. One good news, Africa has a beautiful logo, the one on the right, the green one. And we also have a fantastic anthem. Just go to YouTube and download the African anthem. It's such a fantastic song. Anytime I hear that, it gives me goosebumps. Then on the left-hand side, you see Africa, all the African countries with their flags on the left-hand side. Many people used to refer to Africa as a country without specifically being insultingly calling it an Africa country. They just bring Britain, France, China, and they say Africa. So I used to quarrel with that. I say, excuse me, Africa is not a country. Those ones you call, they're all countries. Africa is a continent. So can we fix it? Africa is actually 55 fully recognized sovereign states and 8 territories. 2 of them are de facto independent states. So that's what Africa is. The oldest inhabited territory on Earth, as has been told by various religious books and history books, anthropology, that life started on the continent. Africa, if we look at it, the North African space is the beginning of literacy in terms of the pharaonic civilization of ancient Egypt. The pyramids. The pyramid is a mathematical and engineering feat. I've seen it. I've been there physically. Up to now, they cannot explain the reason. I was looking at it and I said, they didn't have cranes in those days. They used rope to pull up stones. How did they construct this? I asked the lady, how many people died when they were building this pyramid? You know, due to accidents and all that. Africa has the African Union consisting of 55 member states, and the AU was announced in Libya on the 9th of September 1999, calling for the establishment of African Union. The bloc founded 26 May 2001 in Addis Ababa, and the AU headquarters is located in Addis Ababa. As big as we are, as single as we are, as diverse as we are, this page talks about reflections about Africa. On the right-hand side is a picture of the regions, the various languages that are spoken officially in Africa. We speak Belgian, we speak British, we speak French, we have independent ones that are not colonial languages. We have Italian, we have Portuguese speaking, we have Spanish speaking. That's how many official languages are in Africa. However, the African Union recognizes English, French, Arabic, Portuguese, and Swahili. 5 of them. Africa on the left-hand side is the regional blocks. We have 5 regional blocks that are physical and visible. There's a 6th one that is not physically visible, but it's all over the world. That is the diaspora. We have North Africa, East Africa, West Africa, Central Africa, and Southern Africa. And then we have the diaspora. Diaspora is not reflected here, it's universal. All Africans in other countries around the world. Big matter for us as Africa is a continent of high linguistic diversity. There are an estimated 1,500 to 2,000 African languages. The ones I mentioned here, they are official state languages. Does anybody have anything that they want to share for us again as we proceed? Anwar Razak, which country are you logging in from? Somebody is marking my paper, so they are writing on my script.
Our Razak is watching from Indonesia.
Aha, okay. So I guess that
I'm from Indonesia, ma'am.
you're from Indonesia. Okay.
Yes.
That's nice. Welcome to DRN. Or is it me that is welcome? I'm welcoming people to DRN. So I also see Nkosi from Mozambique. I see Anaba from Accra. And I see, yes, we're still diverse. So in line with that, that's how we are in Africa. I don't want to jump to the limitations. Let's talk about Africa. What does anybody want to tell us about Africa in addition to what we have shared? Can the person who marked my screen, please just help us to wipe it off? Somebody marked my screen. Anybody wants to say something? This is a very quiet session.
Yeah, it seems so today. So I think it's time
Today
to
nobody's
call names.
talking. Last time we were chatting. Does anybody want to say something? Well,
Mr. Zataba, what do you have to say about Africa and
I'm
business?
topping up my coffee. Me, I have coffee. I have coffee. See my flask. See my flask. I have coffee. See, this is my flask. Does it? Okay, Christian. Christian wants to say something.
Okay. Christian, go on, unmute yourself.
Yes. Good evening.
Good evening.
I am afraid about Africa and African development because of the new blocks that are emerging,
Yes.
which are not aligned with the old block. For example, the Torero and the Burkina Faso with Chad.
They call themselves Sahel states.
Yes, and Nigeria, Cameroon, etc., which I see as the old block. So I don't know how these two blocks will agree for Africa to develop and they maybe have a common market or common currency. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Christian. So for those of us who may not know what he's talking about this green area, the ECOWAS bloc, which we have Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger that have moved out and they call themselves Sahel states, and they are not answerable to ECOWAS anymore. That's what they have said. But there's liberty in freedom of association and collaboration. They have not said they have left the continent. They cannot leave the continent. They're still within the continent. And then there are some rules of the African Union that says if you remove your democratic rule and all that, there are some punitive measures and all that. But the reality is that market is market. Do you know that even in Niger, Cameroon, and this in Burkina Faso and Mali, there's business going on. And if I show you the list of 20 is part of what we're going to look at. The list of 20 fastest growing economies in the world. Niger is there. It's one of the fastest growing countries we have in on the continent. So as far as market is concerned, there's business going on there. Is the concession of trade blocks and collaborations and partnerships that have been impacted. But the continental framework is still there. They're still interested in things like Africa continental. In fact, there's a school of thought that says that it is the benefits of the Africa continental free trade area that has made them want to be free from France so that they can get the benefits of the market. How many of us have watched movies and recordings, videos from our sister, Dr. Arikana, who has been speaking about the French issues of Francophone Africa? So most people even think that that aspect is even part of why the Sahel issue emerged, because they were not breaking free from the blocks per se. They wanted their liberty from France economically, and that's what they got. So they're not going to be a stumbling block. Then the other thing again is that the regions, there's a competition. This is North African bloc, this is the East African bloc, this is the SADC region, this is Central Africa. The East African and the SADC region, they are the most advanced regions in terms of integration and growth. And there seems to be competition. The Central African region seems to be slowed down, except for countries like Angola and Co that are really growing. For countries like DRC, even DRC is also growing despite all the issues. So when we talk about development, it depends on whose perspective you're talking about. Are you talking about the perspective of multilateral agencies who have perspectives that they look for, or in the lives of the individuals that are in those countries and the situation that is applicable to them in terms of livelihood, safety, and income generating activities? So that's a good conversation. Thank you, Mr. Walko. We are going to see some of it in the next sections that
Thank
we
you.
are going to go to. So it looks like we're getting geared for interesting things up front. So now we're going to look at the old way and the new way, which is similar to what Mr. Mwako has asked us. The old way is that we had an ECOWAS bloc. The new way is that in the ECOWAS bloc, we have ECOWAS and the Sahel states. So are we saying 5 regions, or are we saying 6+1? Because it was 5+1, based on the issue of East, West, Central, North, and all that. But now we have, within the West, we have the West and we have the Sahel states. So the arrow, the old way and the new way, that's the way we're going to look at the limitations and the connections. Markets have many things, but first of all, the limitations. We have infrastructure deficits, road, rails, cost of doing business, digital infrastructure. If you see the cost of data, I know you are all in the program, and if you can calculate how much you have to pay for data to be able to stay on the program, is a lot of investment. Some countries, it's not like that. It's much cheaper. Data has become like the oxygen that you breathe. They give you free access by coming into certain areas. But in our own cases, some of those areas are still restrictive. If you try to travel by rail, ideally we should be able to travel across Africa by rail, just like how they do in Europe. But we can't do that. The rail lines are not connected, even airlines too. If I want to go to Namibia from Lagos, I will have to go to either Addis Ababa or Kigali and then get a flight and then go down to Namibia? Why can't I just fly straight 4 hours or 5 hours to Namibia? It's not happening like that. But in Europe and in the US, it's happening. And as a result of that, cost of air travel in Africa is very expensive. In the US, by the time you're buying a return ticket for $300, you're going to a long distance. But here, you pay thousands of dollars to just go to the next country, which is just 4 or 5 hours away. So that's a problem. Fragmented markets, yes, we have the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, out of which 55 countries have all 54 except Eritrea have signed up. So it's actually almost 100%. But the political system is also somehow, some people are parliamentary, some are democratic, some are military, as we have just spoken about, with diverse issues of inconsistent policies and corruption and bureaucracy. So things like the Agenda 2063 and the Africa Continental Free Trade are trying to bring similarities across so that we have these frameworks that are similar and we can relate with one another. Access to finance is a big issue. MSMEs suffer. I think right now in the Nigerian space, the interest rate is over 30. I don't know what you're going to be manufacturing that you'll be able to pay interest rate at 30%. So that is, cost of borrowing is a Herculean task. And those people, some of them that are lending to the SMEs, they actually come back and become very troublesome to the people who have borrowed from them. And many businesses have had to fold up because of that. There's also a limited industrial base. So if you're an SME and you're trying to serve in a value chain of a big corporation, you find out that the space is very restricted for you to have different kinds of products and innovation. It's such a concentrated market. There's no space for growth because of capital. Skill gap. Our educational systems are not working for this time. They are not fit for purpose for now. That's why programs like GRN are very peculiar and unique, because the curriculum is practical, is problem solving, and is individualistically curated. So you can curate your own program the way you want it based on your aspirations for that program and based on the projects that you have. It's raining in Lagos, so you'll be hearing noise. I will soon close the window. So based on that, that is also part of the problem of our educational system. However, skills are now being changed by various schools that are forward-looking and bringing up skills that are effective. There are some times that we have programs whereby somebody has gone to read mechanical engineering. They've never tested practical. The labs are not even funded, so they don't have practical experience. Some people have studied BSc chemical engineering and they've never gone to the lab to mix any chemical substance. They don't know how it works, but that is now being addressed by competition and by the need of the society. Informal economy, for us in Africa, the informal economy is the main economy. For instance, the whole thing is that 80% of the businesses that are employers of more than 60% of labor force is the MSMEs. And they're all over the place. So whenever they talk about the private sector, they tend to look at the big major corporates. But the real private sector are the small and medium scale enterprises, which many of us in this room might be thinking of joining as we complete this our entrepreneurship program. And also some of us that might be retiring and be thinking of what businesses do we want to go into. That's where we're going to be. Currency instability. You know, I just came back from, I just returned from Cairo, as Mr. Mozapo has told us. And one of the conversations in Cairo is, I think, let me just shut this window. This window is making noise. Just give me a few seconds. So I just returned from Cairo, and one of the things that were discussed is the Africa Trade Gateway and the issue of PAPS. PAPS is Pan-African Payment and Settlement System that has been designed by Afrexim, such that if I live in Nigeria and I make my Ankara dresses and I want to send it and my customer is living in Nairobi, I can send the things to the person and the person can pay me in Naira in Nigeria. I don't need to buy dollar and the person doesn't need to buy dollar. that Pan-African payment system is very good for entrepreneurs. And right now I learned that they're even developing a card such that if I am a business person and I have a bank account in Nigeria and I'm traveling to maybe Addis Ababa, I'm going to do some business, I can take my PAPS card and I'll use it to go and buy things in Addis Ababa without changing to dollar or buying their money, which is birr. That's a very good thing for MSMEs, and it will help us to have the single market. Security concerns. Many of us have this issue, but I know because of this now, cost of food in some of those places that are having security challenges is very high because people are not able to go to the farms to farm the farm products and come and feed. And then as a result of that, price of food is so expensive. So the security concerns are also a limitations because, for instance, I said that we don't have train services and the buses are not able to go all over the places because of security concerns. The issue of crime, the issue of identity is also part of it. So these are things that are challenges to the businesses, and which my organization, the Africa Private Sector Summit, we came up with 24 rights for the private sector in Africa for it to thrive and for it to really consistently do well in a situation whereby we have the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. Are there some limitations that I've missed out of here? Anybody wants to give us another limitation? It's a discussion. Oh, this is a discussion, interactive session. Abi, Mr. Mozapo, is an interactive session.
Yes, yeah, please. And we're speaking. So please, is there any, we need it to be more interactive, class. I think someone sent something on the platform. I don't know if she can read it herself.
Okay,
All right. So,
okay, please go on.
all right. Hi, good evening, everyone.
Good
Yeah,
evening.
good evening.
All right. So, part of the limitations are lack of market integration, you know, and dependence on raw exports, you know.
Lack of market integration.
Yeah.
Yes. And low what? Hello? We didn't hear her.
Blessing, can you continue? We didn't get the last statement.
She said lack of something. Lack of market integration and low something export.
And lack of market integration and dependence on raw exports. Basically,
Okay.
that's what I said.
Okay.
Yeah.
So true. Thank you, Blessing.
You're welcome.
There's Lenovo. Lenovo has
Okay, we have, okay, okay, Lenovo, you unmute your mic, please. Okay, while waiting for Lenovo, can we have Mr. David Oguzoren, please speak?
Thank you, Director. Good evening, Director. Good evening, our guest lecturer, and good evening, class. I have listened attentively to our guest speaker, and it has been amazing and wonderful on the eye-opening information that we are receiving. Now, talking about the African market limitations and connections, a lot has been said about it, and honestly, I agree with all of them. But I want the guest speaker to please look at something different, which I feel was not captured. Emphasis and focus has been on Africa as a continent, and then countries within Africa, and then institutional connections. I didn't really get quite well about the people of Africa. The people of Africa, the people that made up Africa, our lifestyle, our values, our personalities, our ways is such that our market can never grow. I have taken my time to have looked at other continents of the world. There's no place where you see lack of love for your people, hatred, envy, so high. I watched some videos coming out from South Africa recently. I saw South Africans going from hospital to hospital, driving away other Africans. And these things are replicated in so many other Africans. In Ghana recently, we heard about skirmishes here and there, an attempt to drive away some Nigerians, especially Africans of the Igbo of Nigeria. My question is this. Is this not a strong limitation to the growth and the market of Africa? And then what's the financial? That is my question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. And Doctor, should we receive all the questions before you answer, or what do you want? Okay.
Let's
Mr.
Lenovo is here, so we have to.
Okay, Lenovo, let's hear from you, please. Can you on your mic, your camera when you're speaking, please?
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Yeah, yes. One of the limitations in Africa is there are few manufacturing industries making most countries to export raw material and more dependent on imports and less exports.
Yes.
This in turn is pushing many African countries into debt, in making even whatever resources they have being channeled to servicing the debt. So if there can be a balance on the exports, more especially value addition to the raw material and the less debt contraction, I'm sure we can see much progress and development. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, sir. Where are you calling from again? Where is that country again?
That was my question.
Oh, I'm Gifty. I'm calling from Lusaka, Zambia.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, that is Mr. Gill. That is true. Okay, let's hear from Chinedu. Please, your camera on if possible.
My guess is that Blessing and Miss Blessing and Mr. David are logging in from Nigeria, or where?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Chinedu, let's hear from you, please.
Good evening, Doctor. Good evening, facilitator.
Thank you.
I believe that part of the limitations we are having is a lack of support for our local ingenuity. Africa has a lot of talents. People are very creative here, especially in Nigeria, from my experience. The government is not really doing much to support those people that are very creative. For instance, in science and technology, the area of ICT, most of them create drones, most of them build motorbikes from scratch, but they don't get support from Africans.
Yes.
Number two is that there are too much dependence on foreign products in this African continent. Even those people that are successful in local productions, they hardly get the patronage they deserve. And it's very discouraging for them. It cannot help African markets. Another thing I see as a limitation from my own end is the part of dollar exchange. Most entrepreneurs, most of the materials, raw materials they may use for production, of course, most of them are actually gotten from Africa. But because we don't have the facilities to refine them, the finished products, so they depend on foreign materials for their productions, and the rate of dollar exchange is always high. So whenever they change to dollars and buy those materials and come back after production, those things will be too expensive for African markets. So another reason I might want to highlight that is serving as a limitation is something some of our colleagues have pointed out. Our exports is way lower than imports. And most of our exports are raw materials. So we need to refine them more. We need government to step in, give credits, loans, soft loans to entrepreneurs, encourage them so that African ingenuity will come out and we can compete with the global stage. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
So we
Mr.
need
Anthony.
we need the
Okay.
president to bring down the hands of those who have spoken. So
Yeah,
that
okay.
Mm.
Okay. Please, if you have spoken, can you drop your answer so that we know those were, so that we can get that easy?
Yeah.
Now, because what we're doing today, I'm so grateful, Doctor, because we are uploading this video on LinkedIn and we're sending to some leaders across the world. So
Yeah.
when you speak, you are speaking to leaders across the world.
Yes.
You are not just speaking in the classroom, you are speaking. So we thank God for what Dr. Lucy is making us do, because people are listening to you across the world. That is what this program is all. That's why it's called a consortium. So let's call Mr. Joseph Azutaba from Ghana.
Where is he
Please,
logging from?
on your
Thank
camera,
you
please.
You will tell us where you are logging in from.
I'm speaking from Ghana.
Okay.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity. I just need a clarification. According to statistics, demographic statistics of Africa, about 60% of the population are youth.
Yes.
Between 1 to 25 years old.
Yes.
This tells us that Africa has a large labor force. And we find it very difficult to trade amongst ourselves in Africa due to one of two reasons: political, trade barriers, financial inclusion, lack of infrastructure, and so on. However, as day in, day out, we see that the Chinese, the Indians, and so on are taking over the market in Africa. What are the issues that makes the foreigners having more opportunity in markets in Africa than the indigenous people themselves? And what can we do to ensure that Africans have a higher share of African market, despite African continental free trade area? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Joseph.
This is deep. Okay, that's deep. If I may come in there, Doctor will help us that, because even in London here, most of the African product shops are being managed by people from other parts of the world, not even Africans. You go to the African market and you see the Indians, you see the Pakistanis, you see the Chinese. They are the one selling African food in London these days. And so you wonder what happened to Africans. So we have a lot to look into. So Mr. Daudi Ingala from Zambia or Mozambique.
The director, on that note, I went to a supermarket in Canada and I saw canned jollof rice. Do you know where it was made from?
What?
China.
Yeah, China, wow. So we're losing our market.
Canned jollof rice. Jollof rice is not Ghana or Nigeria. It's made in China in a can on the shelf in the supermarket at the mall.
Okay, Mr. Ngala, let's hear from you, our president of the Student Union.
Thank you so much, Mr. Director. Good evening, Madam Lucy, Dr. Lucy, and good evening all the students on the call.
Where is Mr. Ngala logging in from?
I'm logging in from Maputo, Mozambique.
Maputo. Oh, yes, I remember.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so much. I just want to echo what Mr. Joseph Azakaba just spoke now. I'm looking at the limitation on inter-Africa trade, which is very low. And what is the African Free Trade Agreement doing to improve on inter-Africa trade? Number one, we have limitations on the policies. Most of the time when these policies have been made, they are not trickling down to the local person on the ground.
Yeah.
For example, when it comes to cross-border trade, there are a lot of things that have been done on the governmental level, but the people that are on the ground are not benefiting much. So what are we doing to improve that?
Yes. Thank you. I have good news from Cairo. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Right.
Okay, let's go to Mr. Ibrahim Alhaji Mohammed, please, your camera on and indicate where you're connected from. Mr. Ibrahim Mohammed.
So we might take two more, then I will answer so that we can move forward.
Okay, yeah, okay. Mr. Ibrahim is not speaking, so let's go to His Royal Highness, Mr. Isaac Friday Wifo.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, our facilitator, our director of programs, and everyone in the class. I want to appreciate this class, and the topic so far is very laudable and insightful for me. I want to just dwell more on the high transaction cost as a limitation in African market, vis-a-vis someone that mentioned that the pluralistic foreign exchange that have to do with different countries per countries. But I want to dwell more on the logistics aspect, which has to do with what you mentioned about infrastructure deficiencies. You know, there's a big problem in Africa, particularly Nigeria. My name is Isaac Waifu. I'm the deputy speaker of DRN Parliament, and I'm right now from Edo State, Nigeria. So the issue we are having basically is more or less being able to transport your goods, your containers from Lagos, Nigeria, to perhaps where I base, which is Edo State. The bad roads and all, we incur on your cost that you're going to pay the company. And at the end of the day, you are going home with little or no profits, courtesy of the bad road, courtesy of the infrastructure deficit, roads, and the cost of doing business. Not to even talk about the rate of even going to the banks to get facilities, which as of today is between 38% and 40%. So it's crazy. Permit me for using that word. It's really, really skyrocketing, and these are one of the limitations in Nigerian market. Thank you so much, ma. God bless you.
Yeah, Mr. Isaac is just trying to be nice. He's the king of his community in Edo State. And he has a domain he oversees. So it's His Royal Highness. We are glad of his humility. We are glad that he's part of us, and we are truly humbled by his own humility. And that a king in our midst just choose to become. So we thank God for that. So we're going to go straight to
so those who have
Mr.
spoken can please lower their hands.
Yeah, if you're spoken, please lower your hand. Mr. Friday, I think we'll just take, Maivu can take additional two. I don't know if that is okay with you.
Just two, then I'll answer all of the comments.
Okay, we'll talk to Mr. Friday and then Mr. I just called the name Mr. Friday. Once Mr. Friday speak, Reverend Akachuku will speak, and then I just want one lady also to speak, Amarachi, and then it's done. These three people. The rest, you're going to have your time again. We'll just so that we can.
We're not finished. We still have a round of questions to ask.
Yeah, there's round of questions. So Friday, Reverend Akachuku, then and Amarachi chair goes in. The three of you in that order. So Mr. Friday, let's hear from you.
All right. Good evening, very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, our dear guests and our director. I am very much excited to participate in this evening General Consortium. It gladdens my heart whenever I hear a discussion like this. And the question I always ask myself is, after now, what next? You know, I've been in a conversation like this where the guest openly told us the gathering of techies, tech enthusiasts in the mix, that whenever you are building a product, please don't tag it made in Africa. It shouldn't be made in Nigeria. It shouldn't be made in Ghana. It should be from Italy. It should be from Germany. So I think that's actually why you see the jollof rice that I may think, even if not made in Africa, but the brain behind that product should be from Africa. But because of the narrative, because of our history, because of our poor data management, we now decide to disown ourselves to accept another. Right. So to me, this is the bedrock of most of the questions, concerns, and all of that have been coming into this class. Because when you look at the Africa agenda, I think what is the date again? 2060 or so.
2063.
Yes, thank you. You will see that is a lot. But to be honest, even the people who are championing it, sorry to say, are not yet ready to actually own it up. So the challenge I'm seeing is our narrative. We position Africa to be the poorest, to be the most begging, to be the less. But if we go out there, you see that with the DNA we have, with the creativity we are built in, our indwelling abilities, we excel beyond limitations. Africa are the most adoptable people anywhere. Even if we have to cross the fire and still come out glorious, we do it. But the narrative, right? So my concern here, Ma, or my appeal to you is as a voice. Maybe you can make that as a publication or so. Let's own ourselves. Let's stop giving the credits or selling ourselves to any other person for the sake of, to me, it's just a short-term stuff. Because I see a lot of my friends and brothers who produce belts, who produce shoes, who produce a whole lot here in Nigeria, but they rather put made in Italy label to sell rather than saying made in Aba. Because what? The narrative. So let me not go further. Thank you so
Don't
much,
worry.
man.
Mr. Friday, you are a voice today. This video is going to go across the world and people will hear you,
Yes.
your concern. So don't worry. You're already becoming a voice. So Reverend Akachuku, please.
Good evening,
Good evening.
Dr. Lucy.
Yes.
Good evening, my presido. Good evening, my fellow students. I want to ask you a question, and my question is based on my concern, and I've listened to other people say several things, and how can we succeed in African market? I was listening to IAF, International African Trade Fair, the other day that took place in Ojas. For the whole
Yes.
1 week, I was listening to them anytime because I want to look at the African market and why we are the way we are.
Yes.
Why is it that you cannot even get a free visa? Like this man said, the CEO of Owando said, how can you talk about having African market when it took him 2 months to get a visa?
Yeah.
And several other things. I thank God that the other brother has brought it up. How can we talk about African market when South Africa is envious of Nigeria,
Yes.
even to the extent of hospital this thing? How can we talk about African market when we cannot talk about open borders or this? Look at the European Union and everything. Like Friday rightly said, I was in the US and the yam that was coming into the US were from Ghana. So a Nigerian farm producer had to move the yam to Ghana before it will be shipped to Ghana. I had a friend that came from US the other day. I want him to eat salad. He said no. I said, why? He said because the African soil that produce that salad ingredient contains jam because the soil is not treated.
Yes.
I said, wow. He was sick. He didn't take any medicine in Nigeria. We have to call his American doctor. And the American doctor to the embassy had to recommend the drug, send it to him before they bring it to
So let's make our questions very brief so that we can move
Yeah,
forward.
because of time. Yeah. Reverend Akachuku, your network is bad. I think we might just go to...
If maybe he will remove his camera, then we can get a better... He'll switch off the video, then the audio can be stronger. If you can hear us.
Yeah, I think due to time, Doc, can we just go to the next person and then we'll take it up from there in case he doesn't come back. So, Lady Amarachi, so that due to time, are you back, sir?
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, please, your camera might, if it's possible.
I'm sorry because of the light issues. I may not be able
Okay,
to
okay,
put on.
it's okay, it's okay.
I hope I'm audible, no?
Yeah, you're audible.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for this platform.
Very faint.
My name is Amarachi Chagoziem from Abuja, from the beautiful country called Nigeria.
Amarachi, let me just round up. My network went off, but yeah, it came in. So, is there any way that you can be able to, since you speak to those in power as an ambassador in the African market, how do we handle the issue of corruption? Because what is destroying all these good policies?
God will help us. All right. Thank you, Reverend.
We'll do that. Okay, and Amara,
That
please,
is
can you?
corruption.
Okay, Reverend, and we have gotten your words.
Yeah, we've
So
gotten
due
the
to
gist.
time,
The
we
corruption
can
level in Africa, just because she didn't pay the correct tax. But in Africa,
Yeah. Okay, we've gotten the whole gist of the concern. So if we take Lady Amarachi, we'll wrap on this round of questions. Is that okay? Then I can answer people's concerns as much as possible. Let's have Lady Amarachi.
Okay, can I go ahead?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you. I think one of the concerns we have to look into as part of the challenge we are facing in Nigeria is we have beautiful policies, but at the end of the day, they are not being well implemented. And I believe that policy drives institutions. Thank God we are here this evening trying to brainstorm. Maybe we'll find a way forward to this issue of policy implementation. So, in a nutshell, I'm thinking that one of the problems we are having in Africa is the problem of policy, beautiful policy that are not being properly implemented. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, Director, on this note, I think I can go. We have not been able to hear from Ibrahim Alaji Muhammad. I think we have covered all the other hands can be brought down because they have been heard, please. It's only Alaji Ibrahim that we have not heard. I don't know if he's ready. If he's not ready, I'll just
Okay,
go ahead.
Alaji Ibrahim, can you speak now, please? Can you unmute yourself so that we can move on?
And we need Mr. Friday and Lady Amarachi to lower their hands.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
This is Ibrahim from Nigeria, precisely Abuja. It's a privilege being in your midst, Dr. Lucy, the president, and other members here. I would like to appreciate you people for your efforts in bringing such a program or such an event that is well equipped with knowledge and to brainstorm, most especially about the limitations of African markets and connections. Mind you, I'm an entrepreneur, and I have been facing a lot of challenges. That is why I have been raising my hand to see I can be able to iron out one or two problems I've been facing here in Nigeria. Earlier before now, I wanted to start an international business that maybe I'll be exporting or I'll be exporting out some of the goods from Nigeria to some of developed countries, most especially China. But due to some of the policies and some of the restrictions from the federal government here in Nigeria that have been our challenges and difficulties that we cannot be able to push through, most especially we the youth from Nigeria. As one of my brothers earlier said, that we have talented people in Nigeria with well equipped with skills and technology, knowledge, all this AI whatsoever. But the problem that we are facing and the challenges is that we don't have a supportive government that are ready. That is one of the things that I think the developed countries are enjoying today. It is their own product, their own materials that they build on, they sponsor, they give the necessary support to them, and they got the result they have gotten today, and they have gotten where they are today. But we in Nigeria, you see a young, upcoming, a very young boy have a talent, maybe have created something very nice, maybe in terms of technology or all this digital acquisition. But it will wait in vain. Most especially, they will even forward the maybe the inventory to the government, but there will not be any sponsor, and the knowledge will just waste. So I don't know how people will come up and make some proper presentation to the government, most especially Nigeria government, to see how they can be able to equip and support these coming young generations with these ideas and talents. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you, Alhaji Ibrahim. Thank you. I guess we are done, Director.
Yes, Doctor. Yes, ma'am.
Tomiwa's hand is up.
Okay, Tomiwa, please. You are the last person
That's
for
the
now.
last person.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity. I was having network issues. Yeah. My question is, looking back at 2013, where the ACTFA Agenda 2063 was formulated, as at the time that it was, I'm sure it was known to all the people, the countries, the signatories, and all of them that sat to formulate this agenda, that Africa as at then, and given their projections, that it was the border issues, the democracy issues, governance issues, climates, climate affecting agriculture, and general poor economic policies. They kind of knew what Africa was grappling with. For me, I'm seeing it as maybe a projection in I don't want to use the word lies, that would be too heavy for it, but they obviously know what the issues are. Were they expecting that in 50 years we would have overcome those issues and Africa will now be a developed, like Ghana, Nigeria, South Africa? Every one of these countries have their peculiar problems. That is not that the European Union, the Americas, they don't have these kinds of issues. Were they expecting that in 50 years all of this would have been solved? That's the first question. And Ma, I want to ask your personal opinion on the military rule and the democratic rule, because it seems we get things done faster when there's military rule. They don't have this democratic and economic finance ministers and all of them. There is a way they all defer to the IMF, to the WEF, and they still stifle our policies. They still do not allow our policies, our sectors, our different economical sectors. They still, through policies, they do not allow it grow. So I'm asking if, in your personal opinion, military rule seem to work better, faster for Africa than these, if I say contraptions, I hope I wouldn't be too hard on Africa, but then that's what it looks like to me.
I get the question. Lady Tomiwa is interested in the politics. We're talking about the market, but the politics affects the market. So we get the question. Thank you very much. So let me shoot. First of all, before I start, one big disclaimer. I'm not representing the African Union. I don't work for the African Union. I am an independent consultant, I'm an advisor, I'm an international consultant. I work within the space of the continent. And if we can remember, the director said I wrote a book called The African Leaders Tete-a-Tete. And the issues about the book has to do with some things on the Agenda 2063 and the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. And it talks about our responsibility for transformed Africa as individual leaders, as leaders of organizations, and as leaders of countries. So one big thing is a saying by late Mother Teresa that if everybody in the whole world sweeps the front of their house, the whole world will be clean. I think one of the fundamental issues we have in Africa is our cultural orientation of looking to the father for solution. In some cultures, every individual has a voice and every individual is welcome to speak and every individual is respected. And in that regard, there's civil activism. We don't have civil activism. Even most of our activist activities are funded by some special organizations. Where there is civil activism, there's crowdfunding for resources. $1, $2, they gather and it does a lot. But here we're waiting for one organization to give a grant to help us to move our agenda forward. So I am an independent consultant. I'm an individual African leader. And then I happen to be on retainership with an organization that is called African Private Sector Summit, that is advocating for many of the things that we just spoke about. In the OECD countries and in the developed economies, the private sector, they have some rights, they have some say, and some of them are thriving. And when they don't thrive, they demand for bailout, and government comes with their aid with taxpayers' funds. So we're advocating for 24 rights, which I will read through, and then I will now come back and answer our questions. The rights that we are advocating for are evidence-based. They're not just brought from the sky. They were funded by a research, and the research that came out and brought all these as basic rights that the private sector in Africa needs. The first one is right to peace and security and stability, ensuring trade and investment opportunities, the right to efficient and transparent public sector governance to support business growth, the right to efficient company registration and closure of African businesses, the right to functional legal system and guarantees security of contracts, sanctity of contracts, then the right of efficient and fair tax rules that avoid multiple taxation, the right to equal treatment and equal opportunity for market competition, the right to efficient access to capital, that is credit, equity, or debt, the right to exceptions and subsidies for small, medium enterprises, right to property and its protection, right to support innovation, including support for creative industry, the right to timely and reliable, efficient processing of documents and clearing of imports, right to adequate, so many rights, 24 of them. I'm going to send it to the director so that you will see all the 24 rights. These rights have been tested around the continent and they've been validated and ranked according to the ones that various countries require them to be. Now to Madam Blessing that talked about our manufacturing issues and the fact that most of our exports are raw. I will give us an example of a country that took one decision and changed the destiny of that country. That country is called Botswana. Botswana produces diamond and many of the minerals like uranium and coal. And one decision that they took, that no raw diamond will leave Botswana, they must cut and process in Botswana before it's exported. That one decision changed the value add on the diamonds, and that changed the destiny of Botswana. At independence, they were one of the poorest countries, and of recent now they're a middle income economy in Africa. That's what something like value add to our natural resources will cause. And there's an organization, international organization, that is called the Extractive Industries Transparency Index, which many countries are supposed to sign up to make sure that there's transparency by those who are mining those minerals and making sure that the host countries are benefiting from them. So that answers the Blessings comment. Mr. Lenovo, I was not surprised about his comment because of his connection with Lusaka, Zambia, and they've been advocating a lot about this point that I just made about value add and low manufacturing and high debt. That is the bane of many African countries. And also the issue of even the debts, the negotiations are not very effective as they're supposed to be. That's why even continentally, the issue of renegotiating the terms of Africa's borrowings with the multilateral financial institutions is a conversation going on in the continent. Then Mr. Dowder spoke about African manufacturing and conventions and our culture. That many of these protocols are looking at the high level, looking at the policies, the government. How about the African citizens? That is in the space of politics and democracy and governance, whereby the nature of the constitution of that country, what is the position of the citizen of that country, and what are the political leaders doing about the office of the citizen as the ultimate employer of all political office holders and the taxpayer to whom they owe transparency for the collective resource. Many of the cultures that we have in Africa, right from the days before the independence of many countries, they are democratic from the village structure, the community structures and all that. There's a concern now that we might need to go back to that community bottom-up approach to policy formation and engagement. And on that regard, I know 2 countries that are in the SADC region, the South African Development Corporation, the SADC region, that they have their constitution reviewed every 10 years. They do a census every 10 years to determine the location and the number of people, to know how to send toilets, markets, hospitals, roads, and all that. But some countries, when they do their population census, they're thinking about how many people there, how many polling booths. Population census is not for polling booth nomenclature, is for service provision, to know population that require basic things like health and school and roads and markets. They do census every 10 years. Then also they have a review of their constitution every 10 years. They have at the province, they have town hall meetings, and every province is supposed to come with top 10 areas that they want to be updated in the constitution. And each province is collated at the central national, where they end up with the national collated top 10 areas to be reviewed. And those top areas are updated in the constitution, and it happens again the same way after 10 years. If you look among the countries that have made the greatest development in Africa, those countries have done these 2 things in the past 10 years, once or twice. They have reviewed their constitution, they have done census. So when that is done, you can tell based on the authorization and all the things that are supposed to be happening. Now, Mr. Chinedu, buy African. Funny enough, I was just in Cairo and it was a conversation about shifting the agenda of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area from ascension and negotiations to implementation. And one of the things that came out was branding items and products that are after AFCFTA certified, so that you can be proud that I'm wearing an AFCFTA certified thing. But it also leads to the leaders. I personally, as a leader, I decided anytime I'm going for my African conversations, I'm not going to go wearing Western clothes. I have been showing up wearing my African clothes, showing patronage of African creative industry. All of us can do that as we have opportunity to do so. My dress that I'm wearing today, I bought it in Addis Ababa, is an Ethiopian outfit. I'm living in Lagos and I'm wearing an Ethiopian outfit. When I go somewhere, I can be wearing my native African Nigerian outfit. So we all need to do that and show support for our local industry. It starts with each and every one of us. The other one is Mr. Joseph from Ghana. He spoke about percentage youth population. Yes, youth, the youth population in Africa is peculiar. Africa is the youngest continent. When they say Africa is the youngest continent, it means it is the continent that has the largest number of youth. That's why the OECD countries and the other nations that are having an aging population are actively inviting our young people to come over as the new workforce, because their workforce is reaching retirement and the workforce, the productive workforce, is declining. That's why they ask for our young graduates that are qualified, they are educated, they can read and write, and they have a productive age that they can at least give such community at least 20, 30 years of their lifespan being productive. So our youth have a lot of creativity and a lot of things that for us to produce. However, many of our systems are not talking about youth. But interestingly, even in the African space, gender, women and youth are a focus area, even in the Africa Continental Free Trade agenda. And now the issue is that the first focus of the AFCFTA, it was signed in 2018 and it became operational in 2021. One of the things that they needed was the universal accession. Not all the countries signed up at the beginning right away. So the focus of the first phase was to go around all African countries to get them to sign up to the agreement and also to ratify their instruments. Right now, 54 countries have signed up and 47 have ratified their instrument. And the essence of the meeting that we were invited to in Cairo was about moving to this phase of implementation. And it was about engaging the private sector, because the private sector is the employer of labor, it's the private sector that pays taxes, and it's the private sector that trades. Governments do not trade. So that conversation is just beginning, and we are hopeful that it's going to proceed and bring some outcome. So the scaling is moving downwards and is also engaging various sectors and industries, and especially the MSME sector, the immigration services, the customs, the border security, and all that. Alhaji Ibrahim spoke about the items to China and about the MSME. Have you heard about the AAA SME, All Africa Association of Small and Medium Enterprises? If you go online, you check for them, AAA SME, All Africa Association of Small and Medium Enterprises. I strongly recommend that any person that is an entrepreneur should join them. They are doing something. They are coming up with the Ubuntu fund system for SMEs in Africa. Even in Cairo, they were there. They just left Johannesburg and they were in Algiers campaigning for this AAA SME fund. That is a good association to be, and it will help for those that are thinking of being entrepreneurs. His Royal Highness spoke about high transaction cost and logistics. That's a fact, because if you are, in fact, many of our postal services are still connected to our colonial roots. For instance, there was a time I was going to send something and I wanted to send it through UPS, EMS, and it had to go to London to come down to South Africa. Otherwise, I would need to send it by DHL, which is at a more expensive cost, or UPS or FedEx. That is one of the issues that is linked to the road network, shipping line, aviation and cargo shipping, and also road transportation. That is an issue that was also discussed at the meeting, because, for instance, East Africa has really dealt with this matter between themselves. Movement of items, as our brother from Maputo will be able to talk to us about, East African community has really been the most integrated community so far, and SADC has also done very well, but the other regions are really struggling, especially in ECOWAS. Part of the issue is security and the other issues. Mr. Friday spoke about no pride in Africa made. That is a fact. We need to start to make, like when they went to the Algiers meeting, there is the creative industry specific focus, and I'm also aware of Africa Celebrates that's going to happen in Addis Ababa. These are all opportunities. Even the Africa Continental Free Trade Area is emphasizing the role of textiles and apparel, African textiles and apparel. And last year, my husband and I were in Cameroon. We went for the FICOTA, the Federation of International Association for Cotton, Textiles and Accessories. They had an event in Kribi, and it was all about promoting the African creative and fashion industry. We trust that that is going to be increasingly more visible, given that many of our outfits are featuring on the catwalk in France and Italy and in the US. And some African shops in the US are actually promoting made in Africa outfits. Ghana has done amazing work in that space. The Kente cloth has gone all over the world and they have made it a fashion statement. Perhaps other African countries. I know that the Ethiopian outfit too has come out to be a very, very convenient cotton outfit that many people like, including myself, as the one that I'm wearing today is Ethiopian. So that aspect is coming up. Reverend Akachuku, the corruption issue. Corruption is a human behavior. All over the world, it happens. They have scandals from Asia to America to US and to Africa. But the African one is made worse because of our systems. If we have these systems of transparency, money laundering, corruption, financing of terrorism, there are protocols in that. But some of our systems and our governments, that is now in the hands of the citizens to make sure that we elect leaders that are promised transparency and accountability and that are going to hold people accountable. It is in our hands as citizens to decide on our future, to make sure that we elect the kind of people that we want in the office. Even if your voice is one, keep screaming. One day it will be a collective that is loud enough, and that can make the change. Lady Amarachi spoke about implementation. That leads to the issue of leadership too. Because most of our places, if we appoint leaders that are based on my person from my village, my townsperson, the person from my faith, we're not looking at capacity, competence, and credibility, then we are ending up with all those kind of problems. In countries where they hold leaders accountable, when there's corruption, it's a death sentence. And in some places, when there's corruption, you come after them, people from their village carry placard and say, leave our son or our daughter alone. So until we stop doing these kind of things, I think we might not make progress, but each and every one of us have a process and an opportunity to make a difference where we are. We stand for what is right, and we do not accept and do not compromise or become facilitators of corruption. The one from Lady Tomiwa about the AFCFTA, it was started in 2018. It was formulated, they meant well, and they still mean well. And then before they could come to consensus, it's not easy to get different countries to come together on a consensus where everybody is allowed to think what is best for them. They started the Africa Continental Free Trade Area was operational 2021. It's only this year that we got up to 54 countries. It has taken 4 years to get to the point where 54 countries say yes. And it is still at 47 countries that have said, we agree, these are the instruments, this is how we are going to trade. So that, as what I call it, ratification instrument is part of the implementation plan. And out of the 54 is 47 that have presented it and said, we have discussed this, how we're going to go about it. So it takes a long process, but we should not lose hope. And it's okay to have 50-year-old plans. China had 100-year plan. They finished and they started another century of plan. Our own is just 50 years. We take baby steps. We've already done 10 years. They broke it into 5 blocks of implementation. And the first 10 years, we finished it. Did we succeed? Maybe like 50, 48%. Second year, we learn from the first block and we do much better in the second year. The intention is that Agenda 2063 is a path to a collective future. It does not mean that when we get to 2063, all our problems are solved. China had 100 years. They finished at 100 years, and they had to stretch their goals to another 100 years. So the principle of continuous performance improvement is when you set a goal, your strategy goal is not a final destination. It's a path to a journey. When you get to the end of your strategy plan, you develop another strategy plan for the next period, and you keep on improving as a life process till the end. I hope that has solved, I've addressed most of the questions. So with your permission, let me go to the last section and then we will close. We can take questions after the closure.
Okay.
You are welcome.
I'm conscious about the time. So we're about to finish, and this is the next phase, which is about the connections. The AFCFTA presents an opportunity. Somebody said, if Africa misses this AFCFTA, I think it's going to be in for a big issue for us. And it looks like with all the issues that have happened about the trade wars and the tariffs, we really will need to thank God that we have something called the AFCFTA. If we didn't have this and this trade matter happens, we would have been in a deeper hole than we presently are. So right now, the AFCFTA actually presents an opportunity for us to move forward as a continent and trade with ourselves. If we trade with ourselves, we have extra we can export outside, and our processes are easier, and we're actually one big family right from the beginning. So in addressing this, there are roads that are part of the rail line plans for the Agenda 2063. There are plans also for the digital infrastructure. I happen to have had the privilege of being on the G20 the B20 South Africa's Trade and Investment Task Force. And I know these things are in process, and there are already bids being invited for investment in this area. All the countries are now in the process of aligning their regulations. The currency exchange, I just spoke about the Pan-African Payment and Settlement System that allows entrepreneurs in every country, most of the central banks are signing on to that platform, so that if I live in Lagos and I'm producing outfits and I'm sending it to Cairo, I can ship it and they will pay me. I will receive my money in Naira. I don't need to go look for foreign exchange, and my partner in Cairo doesn't need to look for dollars. That is a major one that will reduce the service charge and all the exchange rate challenges. Harmonization of trade policies, the Continental Free Trade Area is in that process. As I said, the 47 countries that have ratified, they have technically brought out all these things. Leveraging existing frameworks, Agenda 2063, the AFCFTA, and there's a peer review mechanism to which is a collegial arrangement between African countries that look at themselves in peer review manner. The universal onboarding of PAPs, as I've mentioned, is a major solution that will be very good for our MSMEs. Heavy investments in the fourth industrial revolution. We need more investments in value adding to raw materials. I just gave us the example of Botswana, what they did about the diamond industry and the impact of it on their country's economy and the lives of their people. I learned in Botswana they don't pay school fees. All the citizens are entitled to free education up to university level. The parents do not know what school fees is all about. They also have free healthcare. So these are some of the things that can really happen. I know that many countries in Africa have a lot of, we see what happens to Niger. Niger was selling its uranium at 0.28 euro. When they cut their relationship with France, I think uranium became 2 euro per gram, and now they are one of the fastest growing economies. That's just one action about one solid mineral. Niger is known as a major construction site. The same thing with Burkina Faso. So that is what it can go to any country. The fourth industrial revolution is also about educational systems, the role of AI in education, the role of technology in education, and also even down to child stunting growth and child mortality, mother-child mortality rates. These are all things that are that are impacting on educational systems, IQ levels, and learning capacities in the citizenry. Knowledge management and technology, there are deliberate things to have modern educational systems, but part of it is also trying to ensure that the teachers, those who provide education, have the right skills and standards to teach. Because there are instances that confirm that many of our teachers in our educational systems have not been receiving continued learning and education opportunities. So if they're not receiving continuous learning, education and research opportunities, what are they going to be teaching the students? Mainstreaming informal economy is very important because that is where we can scale things across the clusters. As I said, 80% of our private sector is in the informal sector, and they are the employers of 60% of labor. And it's also where many of our youth, the African youth, are thriving and trying to make a living. Some countries are deliberately building that informal economy to grow them and bring them mainstream. There's no reason why somebody who started a business in his gate or in his garage cannot be a major corporate tomorrow. Rethinking democracy and civil activism. I think that leads to the comment that was raised by Reverend Kachuku and also Lady Tomiwa. Leveraging technology and sensors for socioeconomic development. And some people are asking, is it parliamentary system? Is it democratic system? Is it military system? Or is it a hybrid of African democracy that we need? Because the American model democracy is very big and it's very expensive and we may not be able to afford it. So some people are saying parliamentary system is cheaper. The most important thing is how accountable are the leaders and how fast is decision making. G20 and B20 South Africa presidency is a blessing to Africa in disguise, whereby G20 controls 85% of the world's resources. And for the first time, Africa has the presidency, and it rotates, so it may not be back for a very long time. So at this period that South Africa is the president, we have a voice of Africa to the global community. May we use it well, and hopefully we would. I was on the B20 by the divine privilege, for which I'm very grateful, representing my organization, and I know that the reports are very profound. So I just pray that the reports be signed off this November, and then it becomes law. So that's what I have for us. This picture on the right-hand side is something that is very profound. It kind of sums up what we have discussed. On the extreme right, you see this picture of a beautiful city down there and a slum, right? See the end of this picture. At this end, if you can see my cursor, that's a city landscape, and this is a slum. This reminds me of maybe Ikoyi VI and Okeabo in Lagos. This is so common in many African cities. I have seen it in Nairobi. I've seen it in Johannesburg. I've seen it which one is that? Pretoria and all those places. It happens. I've seen it in Cairo. I've seen it everywhere. African capital cities like that. I've also seen it abroad. However, we need to work on that, because these people are also Africans, and these people are also Africans. Our town planning and our human settlement issues, human development indices, this is some of the problem. We're also so blessed in terms of food, nutrition, vegetables, and all that. But we should not have malnutrition in Africa. We should not have people suffering from kwashiorkor. When we can produce food, we have good arable land, and we're all very productive people. Our educational system, these are students, they're supposed to be in school. Look at their windows, look at how they're looking out into the world. It shouldn't be like that. And yet we are blessed with solid minerals. This is a mine that will bring wealth and riches to Africa, but it has been a paradox. Africa is a rich, resource-rich continent. But one thing I just want us to remember about this slide is, as according to World Economic Forum, 8 out of the 24 fastest growing economies in 2024 are in Africa. What are these countries? Let's look at them. We have Egypt, we have Rwanda, we have Niger, we have Ethiopia, we have Senegal, we have South Africa, we have South Sudan, and we have DRC, and we have Libya. All these countries are rich in solid minerals. And many of these countries have not known peace for a long time. But some of them have turned around and they're trying to make things fast. 2 countries that we might need to look at is Niger and Senegal. They are part of the Sahel that we spoke about. Senegal is still in ECOWAS, but Niger is there. We know the story of Rwanda. Egypt has a rich history, is enjoying tourism. Ethiopia has a reformist idea. They've never been colonized. Senegal is a French speaking. South Sudan has had a lot of trouble and turmoil. They're beginning to come together. DRC has had a lot of turmoil, but it's a solid mineral rich. Libya has had a lot of trouble, but guess what? They are in the 24 fastest growing economies in the world. That's part of the mystery of Africa. Finally, this is the same picture that I had before about the slum and the city. And we see this person is a human being. He has 2 shoes. One shoe is tattered and torn. The other one is a solid one. That's the irony of the African situation. In the same space, extreme poverty, extreme wealth due to the inefficiencies of the system. And for us as Africa, these are all the solid minerals that we're so rich in, yet we cannot transform it to be a blessing to our people. So the paradox is we're so rich, yet we're so poor. So the question is, each and every one of us as leaders, because it's very convenient for us to point to the people in political office, but what are we doing about what we have in our hands? So according to the African Center for Economic Transformation, the AFCFTA is the last opportunity for Africa's transformation. We also have a flow of foreign direct investment into and out of Africa. Yes, out of Africa. It should be out of Africa. Foreign direct investments, if we get it right, Africans that are so rich and are now taking out to other continents. That is possible. Now we're in the second 10-year implementation plan. Let's make it work. Each and every one of us has something to do. That was the essence of that book that I wrote, that everybody, there's no excuse. We all have a role to play as individuals, leaders of societies and companies and all that, and even leaders of countries, and us to hold our leaders accountable. And because this is an entrepreneurship class, I would like us to check the Africa Trade Gateway and the Pan-African Payments and Settlement System. Get to know it, see how you can subscribe and register. There's another one called Mansa. Mansa is a platform, M-A-N-S-A, is a platform for SMEs, and find your industry and register in that place. And you will get updates on how to stay on top of things. So now it's over to us. I wish us well on the rest of the program, and I look forward to celebrating all of us based on our stories when we graduate. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Doctor. Thank you. Before you go, I just want to make an announcement so that we can open the room for final discussion. I want to really thank you. Like, everything we've learned today is the reason why the DRA School of Entrepreneurship London was actually, that is why we started. And our focal point for the next 5 years is Africa, Africa, Africa. And to do that, we have laid in the next code, the third code, we have made 250 scholarship available, where people just pay 90, you just pay 10% instead of the 2,000 fee. All you need to pay is 10%. And the goal is to get as much African leaders to be educated, and you have a global education, but your focus is how to develop opportunity in Africa. And so for those of you on the platform, you know leaders across in your various countries, you wanted them to take advantage of this. There's 250 scholarship open for the third code. I want to encourage you to take advantage of that. We've started recruiting. Interviews begin next week, and October 2nd, and interview will stop by January 20th. So the earlier they get the admission, so it's 10 them to send a CV to +447586682227 or to info at drnacademy.uk. You can do that. And so let's get the best. Please make sure the person you are talking to is someone with the right qualification, passion for Africa, and it's got social investment. The project the person is doing comes with a social impact. These are the people that will be qualified for this 250 available scholarship for this third cohort that is starting in February 2026. So we encourage you to talk to people, your colleagues, friends, and let's see how we can change Africa through the right educational system. And that is one of the reasons we stand. Now, the other things I want to share before we open the floor, the DRN Global Consortium is what we're having today, but we also have what we call the DRN Continental Consortium, which we expect those in Africa to organize that. We have the various leaders across Africa that have student union that have been elected. That's why you exist. Put together the DRN Continental Consortium in your continent. And then we have the DRN National Consortium. Let the Ghana people, they just had the hangout, organize a meeting, the DRN and National Consortium, where they bring minds, leaders of thought in Ghana, because you must begin to drive the discussion, drive and become your, so we don't just, let it not just be a talk shop. This is why you're in this school, to become a voice, to become a leader in your various continents. So the DRN National Consortium meeting, we expect, now that the hangouts have taken place, you people there have a day set aside. You bring experts, leaders of thought in your country. Reach out to the school. We'll see how we can help you guide and get that done. Then we have the DRN National Consortium, and then the DRN Regional and State Consortium. For those in the state, like Lagos people, you can have your meeting in Lagos, invite the Speaker of the Lagos House of Assembly, State House of Assembly, get the board step, have the DRN Lagos Consortium meeting where you share your thoughts. Because like our speaker said today, who is a mentor to me personally, we all have something to contribute. DRN is contributing his own by giving scholarship to African entrepreneurs and leaders. What will you do? And if you go to the chat room, you're going to see our team lead, and one of our team lead is already putting the information there. Take step. What do you do? Those in Abuja Consortium, Reverend Akachuku, Aminatu Katum, have the Abuja Consortium, DRN Consortium, and invite the speaker, invite people, and Speaker Ladi is there. Let's be practical. Everything we are learning, let's influence our state, influence our nation. And the Lagos people, you have Sister Patricia is there, Lady Tomiwa is there, and Friday is there. Organize the Lagos Consortium Forum, DRN Consortium. Begin to implement, begin to talk, you guys are voices in your various ranks. So I want to thank you, because let it not just end. We'll be watching you people to see what you will take after this forum. Next week, we continue on the consortium. But I've been so blessed today by my mentor, and I believe every one of you understand why she's my mentor today. And so why I brag about her always. So now we're going to leave the final opportunity for those that want to speak. And we are blessed to have her. So if you want to say something about this program, or you have to contribute, comment, please make it as fast as possible, because we have just 10 minutes more to be on this. And then one thing we promise you is that your voice will be going global, every one of you. So before we go, now is open for the next 10 minutes. And you want to say something, just put up your hands, and then we'll take Lady Angela Ngozi, and from Abuja, the export woman. She's doing a lot for people across. So let's hear from you. Lady Angela, please speak. Turn on your camera, please, if it's possible.
Okay.
Yeah, my camera.
We take 3 questions. We take three questions.
Good evening, so much. Good evening, sir. Good evening.
Yeah,
good evening, Doc, and good evening, everyone. Sorry, I was on transit. I just got home now. I went for a program in Kano. I'm just going to be brief, because the doctor, in short, it was as if. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes, in short, I was just listening to all our people said, all the it looks as if the government selected some people from some agencies and asked them to sit and formulate policies to move forward. And I'm so blessed. I am just blessed. I just wanted to say something. Only about textiles, it's not only about solid minerals. All the products we have in the country, in Africa, we have good product. Nigeria has the best of ginger in the world. I'm just coming from Kano to make presentation on onion, and Nigeria is the second largest exporter of onion after Egypt in Africa, and 7th in the world. What I want to say, because I have a lot, I'm just trying to how to put it in, make it brief. Quality, quality, quality. That's where we have issues. Quality. And the quality product must be taken, we must be deliberate about it. We must be very deliberate about it. I want to produce something, and it must be quality. I want to do the best. The global best practices for whatever we do, your farming, your production processes must be global best practices. And in this academy, we should take it seriously, because you cannot preach what you don't do. You can only preach it if you're able to do that. So you just say it as a normal conversation because you're used to doing it. Products are being rejected because of quality. Not people don't want our product, but they are being rejected because of quality, because of some impurities they see in our product that we export. And we spend more money. If you didn't package your product, if you didn't do right, you will spend more to be able to do it, to correct the mistakes. So on this platform, we should, every product we are going to bring out here should be the best.
Our mic, please, so that we can hear the person that is speaking.
It should be the best. It should be the best. DRN Academy, any product from any one of us. Thank God we're different from different African countries. Whatever product any one of us is going to produce must be the best. The best.
Actually,
if we don't know how to go about it, we know how to go about it. Because we
yes.
have places to send you, we have people to direct you to. So I just wanted to say that. No, it's not the world wants Nigeria product, the world wants Ghana product, they want Mozambique, but the problem is quality. So we should be different about it. Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I want to
Thank you,
say
Lady
something
Angela.
quickly. And Lady Angela is speaking as an expert. She's the head of quality control in the Export Promotion Council in Nigeria. So, and there are so many people that would have given
the head
grants.
of standard in my office.
And she's the head of standard. There are several times they would have given people thousands and there was a time recently she was so upset, she called me and said, how come some people in this forum missed 30,000 pounds, $5,000, because we pasted it on the platform, but people didn't take advantage of that and they missed out in that opportunity. So I understand our passion and this thing. So please, there's something we just posted on the platform.
Yes.
Hello, ma'am.
And there's good news, because one of the conversations that happened was the need for standardization of products and standards such that the acceptance of exports can be certificate of origin. They dealt a lot with the issues of certificate of origin in terms of exports of various commodities and products across African countries. Because like what I think, who was it that spoke about logistics? High logistics cost. His Royal Highness Wafo spoke about high transaction and logistic costs. Imagine if you package your products and they were not the right quality and you shipped it and they were unaccepted. That's a disaster. So since we have Lady Angela, I think she would give us some of those opportunities to learn if we are in the product stage. Even whatever you are producing, even when it is non-perishable items, you need to have your standards, and many of the conventions, if you sign up to them, you will actually get free learning opportunities. They have virtual databases for you to talk about the standards and all that. And the best way is to do a sample. Then when you see the standard as it works, then you can do the bulk shipment. That's very good. That's fantastic. Even in the AFCFTA, the only thing is that Nigeria's AFCFTA is very weak compared to some other countries. I just hope that we make improvements in that direction, because Nigeria has almost 45% of all the SMEs in sub-Saharan Africa. So if Nigeria gets it right, Africa will get it right. Thank you, Lady Angela.
Thank you, ma'am. So let's invite the okay, Mr. Joseph Azutaba, please. Let's hear from you.
Let's make it 1 minute, then I'll take all of them.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Mine is just a little contribution. I am saying that Africa, what we lack is technology. Our educational system has been a traditional way.
Yes.
And I'm happy that DRN, School of Entrepreneurship, is giving us practical training so that when you complete school, you don't need to go and be competing for white-collar jobs. You can start something from the ground, and if you are focused on your dream, you will surely climb up to the hill. So what I'm saying is that government and institutions, countries in Africa should come together and change their educational system, because we are producing only bookworms. We are not producing technicians. We are not producing people who have the technology to invent, to produce things that they can sell on their own without looking for jobs. So that is my contribution. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. So Your Highness, please, can you speak?
Once again, I want to thank Dr. Lucy for this lecture. It was an eye-opener for me. I remember during our onboarding session when our director of program spoke about you, spoke very highly of you. And I was looking forward to the day you're going to give your lecture. And today I told myself I'm going to clear all my schedules to ensure I unlearn, I relearn, and I learn today. And today, it was a masterclass for me. Thank you so much for the lecture. So I want to equally comment on what Mrs. Angela spoke about quality. We've seen that is a problem within our Nigeria ecosystem in terms of trade and exportation. So I'm looking at the situation whereby we can do some level of partnership, because most SMEs in Nigeria, we are having issues with scaling up our businesses. And without partnership, we can't scale up because the banks are trying to crunch our or cramp our style. Let me use that local balance, So that's what we will need to do. And concerning what our director was talking about, having a next cohort of 250, I want to tell you that you should rest assured that 250 nested cohorts is not negotiable. We will drive the process to ensure we hit the target or get close to the target. I can assure you of that. And if it's possible, we will talk about getting the Director General of SMIDAN to come and give us a masterclass concerning his own organization and how we can benefit from it as well. I spoke to him and he was talking about some SMEs going to Algeria to do some exhibitions and all of that. I think that was about 2 or 3 weeks ago, but we just make it. But I want everybody to benefit, even if I can't make it next whenever they're doing it next time. But one of us or more of us can benefit from it. So I will let you know, Director of Programs, when it is chanced, so that we can link him up in a class like this, so that everybody will benefit much more from what we are doing. Thank you so much, Director of Programs. Thank you, Dr. Lucy. Thank you, Mrs. Angela, and God bless us all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We appreciate that. Let's invite Mr. Paul Amazing from Ghana. Due to time, you folks should just bear with us. In the next 5 minutes, we'll be out of this place.
I
Mr.
need
Paul.
to run out. I need to be somewhere at 9 o'clock.
Yeah, I know. So, thank you. Sorry, man. So, Mr. Paul, let's speak very fast.
Good evening. Good evening, Doc. My name is Paul. I'm calling from Accra. Yeah, I want to find out one of the challenges in Africa is lack of standard product. When you go to EU, they have European standard. If you go to America, they have their standards. The APTEC, the African Continental Free Trade Zone, the biggest trade bloc in the world. Do we have African standard? That's my question.
Okay, finally, Friday, can you just speak last so that we just round up and then we'll give to Dr. Lucy, because she's very busy. She's got another meeting to attend. So Friday, please.
All right.
Mr. Friday.
Thank you. Yes, I'm here. Good evening. Thank you very much again for the opportunity. Our dear doctor, I must appreciate your keenness and dedication. This is a very analytical presentation, not just stories. These are facts, and we really appreciate that. I was having a conversation with somebody today, and one of the things I actually discovered, or along the line of the conversation, is that we African founders or CEOs or business people, entrepreneurs are really not patient. So I would just advise everybody here, right? The reason we have issues with standard is because we want to start today and want to be everywhere today. Let's take time to follow the due process, do our assignment very well, do the due diligence. All we need to do, all the knowledge, all the certifications, all everything, let's make sure we follow it to the letter, so that by the time you are projecting and shooting out to the world, there will be no obstruction. But we'll start today, and tomorrow we want to be everywhere. Please, let's learn to be patient. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Friday, for that. That was lovely. So let's return to Dr. Lucy. Mama, so please, you can answer.
Thank you. I'll just wrap up. Yes, I'll just wrap up quickly. It's almost time for me. So thank you very much, Lady Angela. You set up the tone on the topic of the standards, and I wanted to refer us to the issue of the yam. The issue of the yam that we had. Oh, sorry, I have a Hello? Okay. So the issue of the yam that was exported to America, some people actually confirmed that the yam was taken to Ghana because the packaging in Nigeria would not have been to the standard required for the export. And that was deep. That was the explanation that somebody gave, that the yam had to be shipped from the east southern block of Nigeria into Accra so that they can neatly package, brush it, wrap it in cellophane, and put them in cartons according to the export standard required. That is something for us to think about. Mr. Joseph spoke about the technology. I would like to talk to His Royal Highness YFO. Yes, thank you for honoring the invitation and putting everything aside to be part of this conversation. The AAA SME is a very good network for everybody who is interested in being an entrepreneur. They have a website, go in there, register, you get their updates and everything, and then you can have that. They're actually in accordance to industry clusters within that AAA SME. And they're also the voice of the AAA SME at the AFCFTA Secretariat, the Continental Secretariat. On technology, that is so true in terms of education. However, if you even go to the APSS website, you will see African Education Trust Fund is a Pan-African organization that is just information, is less than a year old. The intention is to mobilize funds and give grants in areas of new innovation in education, seeing that our educational systems are not up to standard. And to further that, they're even trying to have an AI conference in Accra, November this year. That is also an information I'll provide to the director so that if we're interested, we can be part of that conversation. And in our respective locations, let's start to advocate for looking at the budget that they have for the educational system that we have, and as many schools as we can volunteer and encourage, let's try and do that. I am an advocate of it starts with me. I'm not one that does too much of pointing fault. I ask myself, what have I done in my little capacity about the problem that I'm listing? And then who do I need to add as a voice so that our collective voice can make an impact? Mr. Friday spoke about us wanting to get things done very fast. Well, that is very true. The speed to market, usually we compromise standards, and that's why we do not have the required. And you know, the funny thing, I know that Africans love money. And if we know that if we devote enough time to the right standard, we're going to get a higher price, I'm sure that will change the school of thought of fast and have prepared products. So thank you once again, Director Mr. Omozapo, and everybody on the platform today. It's been a very nice, you really have tasked me to explain things for African leaders, even though I'm not working for the AU. We're all Africans, and I'm glad, I hope I was able to answer the questions applicably. And I'm grateful that I had the opportunity to be in the Cairo session, which is the beginning of the implementation with the engagement of the private sector. I will also make available to the director the 24 rights that we're trying to advocate for. But sincerely speaking, if there's anything we can hang this session on, is the issue of importance of market intelligence, importance of us knowing some of these frameworks and protocols, importance of us seeing the networks and the associations that we should all pitch into so that we can gain by number of leverage and access to information that is applicable to us. Then the other side is also the fact of us needing to check. We don't need to start big, we start small and we keep at it and then we grow it. I'm sure that our case studies and our projects are going to come out very well if we look at it within that perspective, especially in this environment of AFCFTA that gives us, our market is endless. And if you can sell something on Instagram, that's it. It's anywhere and everywhere. You can sell on Facebook and you can sell on Instagram. Your market is the universe. Let's find out what PAPS has for us and how we can have an account with PAPS so that we can trade. And then the Africa Trade Gateway is a good platform. Be there and find your sector. You will see even on the Africa Trade Gateway, they already have requests for bids. There are some people across the continent that are asking for some products. They want people to ship it to them. If you go there and you find it and you have the right standard, you contact them and that's your market on the Africa Trade Gateway. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Can we all just send the clap for Doctor? Just appreciate her, or mute yourself. Just let her know we love her. Doctor, we love you. We appreciate you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much, Doctor.
Thank you,
Love
Dr.
you,
Lucy,
ma'am.
for
Thank you,
we love
doctor.
you.
Thank you.
Thank
you,
ma.
Thank
you, ma. Thank you very much. Thank you. You guys asked.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
You asked very wonderful questions.
Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Very much.
Whoever is coming to see you guys was really prepared. Well done. Thank you. Congratulations. Bye-bye.
Thank you, man. Thank you. We truly appreciate you being in touch. Thank you so much, man.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye, man. So I just want to make some announcement before we call it a close. We've sent something on the platform. It's a call for application for those of you that belongs to our platform. We encourage Mr. Friday to share the link of the general WhatsApp platform on the and right now. If you can just, we'll see how we can get that done. For those of you that want to get more information about some of the documents we'll be sending, we're going to do that on the platform. So we encourage people that are not part of the platform now to. Mr. Friday is director, is in charge of publicity for the student union. The link is on the platform, the general platform. You can share it to people. You can just go there and get involved and put it on the chat, Mr. Friday, on this chat, the Zoom chat, so that people that are on this platform can join, that are not part of that general DRS School of Entrepreneurship platform can join. So you can put it there right now, Mr. Friday. Now, having said that, we want to encourage every one of you to, because we're going to be sending the documents, Dr. will be sending, and several other documents. There's an application for people to, women-led businesses are invited to apply for this UK Nigerian trade. There was a time we posted something like this and people got grants, but most of you did not apply until the closure of that program. We are not just here to get education, you're also here to assess opportunities and partnership. So we encourage people to take advantage of this. When you see things, and from every day, just go to the platform and read. You may just, so that you don't miss opportunity. Information is power. We want to encourage everyone to do that. And secondly, everyone needs to understand those in the your video, make sure your 2 minutes video for your business is there, because we are promoting your business across the world. The organizations we are sending them to, make sure your video is tagged. For the first semester student, you are dealing with your pie. And then for the second semester student, you are dealing with the marketing of your product or services. So make sure you have your 2 minutes video sent to us through the WhatsApp platform before the end of this month. After the end of this month, we will not be receiving anybody's video, and it's part of your shift to take it to the next level. Mr. Friday, please, the link is on the WhatsApp. Can you share it on this group chat? Just, you see the Darren School of Entrepreneurship, go to the WhatsApp platform and share it on this Zoom chat, because we need to close now. So we're begging everybody.
I'm trying to get the link. I am not having the access to it.
Okay.
Please,
no, it's on DRN School of Entrepreneurship platform, the WhatsApp platform. I just shared it there. Copy the link and place on the group chat. You see it there on this particular chat. So what we're talking, we just want as many of you to please get your assignment done. Take your video is your marketing tool. Make sure you go all the way to get a solid video for both the first semester and the second semester student is important. And for those of you that have not finished your assignment, please remember, we're not going to lower our standard. Make sure you go to the YouTube page and finish your assignment and everything. And like we said, there's also an opportunity for 250 scholarship given to prominent entrepreneurs that know what they are doing. So if you know people, please let them send a CV as early as possible, because we have started screening those we have received now. The best 250 will be given between 200 and between 80 to 90% scholarship. So we want to make sure you get the people on time so that we can screen